Dude, the mics I think are everywhere. The mics are whoever's talking.
In the room.
I'm told to use this by Jason. So.
You're live.
Oh my god. Oh yeah.
So we don't have to have questions and answers anymore.
Maybe. Good to go. How do I do next slide? Ooh.
Yeah. So
You got the
who designed the glittery logo?
You might want to do a volume check.
Oh, he's got the.
I don't know if we actually got anyone over there.
I just say next slide.
There you
Oh.
go.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, I got
Are we good on the screen?
Dude, is that the cable? Yeah.
Okay.
All right, everybody.
Awesome. Very expensive cable that I'm holding right now.
Hey everyone, welcome to week 5 of RIT-Sec. Next slide. Please sign in at signinto.ritsec.club. We want your attendance. We want to know you're here. We want everything. That's all. We just want your everything.
You also need to be a member to do things like vote and get research.
Check out our interest groups and programs as well. They're pretty cool. Physical, Mondays, pretty sick. Other interest groups I'm pretty sure are also meeting.
Please come to physical. It was just me, Loud, and Enzo, and like Fred.
Hey, it was better than the last week when
A lot of
nobody
people.
showed up.
Next slide. Workplace. Join our workplace if you haven't already. Lots of announcements, lots of cool stuff on there. Interest groups meet there. In general, you get some sick stuff. Sign up for the newsletter. Get the news pretty much about the meeting. ISTS as well. March 5th to 7th. That's next week.
We need white teamers, please.
Yes, if you can please help with the competition, white team would be amazing. All you do pretty much is you kind of help run the competition. What you do is maybe you just moderate teams, or maybe you help grade injects, stuff like that. It's not too bad, and it's a fun experience. Sign up if you want. The links there will be in workplace. John, you want to talk about this?
Yes. So Career Fair Eve was a huge success last semester. This semester, we're planning for the week after ISTS. I'm waiting for a couple responses from sponsors, but this is the current plan. I'm thinking Wednesday. This seems to be it's gonna work. But that means it's that time again. Submit your resume. So submit your resumes to the new resume bank. This is not like the last semester's resume bank. This is the new resume bank for this semester. I know you guys have all done really cool stuff recently and did a lot of projects last semester, so let's update those and get them in. We will be doing like a resume review next week during Hack Night and probably again on Wednesday if anyone's interested in that. So yeah, get those resumes in.
Again?
Yeah.
Ice skating again.
With Lisa's.
Yeah, is this Reese's? Yeah. Ice skating Sunday, 1 to 3 at Bill Gray's. Yeah, get a ticket. They sold out last time, so get one ahead of time before they sell out, pretty much, if you want to go ice skating. Next slide. Sprag update again. If you ordered Sprag, go to the club room upstairs. We'll get it to you. Hats, you're going to have to bring money for you to pay for. And your jackets, not jackets, sweatshirts, just pick up. Yeah, if you got Sprag, come get it. Jackets, the Full On Workplace, they're pretty sick. We got a jacket right here. This is the CCDC one, but it's kind of the same jacket. We have the RIT-Sec logo on the back. It's really nice. It's actually pretty warm, and the pockets are really good.
Deadline is Friday night.
Deadline Friday night. So if you want a jacket, tonight, John? Or?
Tonight.
Yeah, tonight. Deadline's tonight. So if you want a jacket, and get one at the form
filled
tonight.
out the interest form and haven't yet ordered.
Next card. IOSEC prize update. If you won something IOSEC, then go to the club room. They're there. Or ask Josh Neiman on Workplace. Pretty much, if you want a prize, go get it. Oh my.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That was a trip through the Matrix. So, give us a sec. One more. Yeah, B-Sides Rochester. Get tickets now. We got some cool. It's a virtual conference this year. Pretty cool. We got 2 people from RIT-Sec presenting there, Emmanuel and John. Want to see them present? Yeah. Get a ticket. And meet our sponsors. Can we get a round of applause for our sponsors? I hope that doesn't ruin the mic. Yeah. They're great. I hope the mic didn't hate that. But yeah, they're pretty great. We love them. They give us money. It's great. Yeah, this is a lot. It's great. And follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Pretty much a lot of cool posts on there. Check them out. Without further ado, we have Social Engineering with Shannon McHale.
Does that sound okay? Can everyone hear me in the next room? That's the real question.
You might want to be a little louder.
Oh, that's so sad. Okay. Well, welcome to Social Engineering with Shannon McHale. It's a very exciting week here at RIT-Sec Education. A little disclaimer, since RIT-Sec stopped giving it out. I just wanted you guys to know that everything I teach you here today should not be used for any malicious purposes. You should not be doing it without permission. Some of the rapport building you can use, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. It's really about your intent of using these tactics, but a lot of what you're going to learn today is how to talk to people, how to be better at interacting with them. But please don't do it to like hack anyone or steal things from them or anything like that. I would also like to disclaim that I did this research in like the last week, so I have not been social engineering you for the past 4 years, so you can trust me, and please don't hate me after this, but yeah. So a little bit about me. I am a senior here at RIT. I have about 10 weeks left in my education, and then I am straight out of here. I'm going to be a red team consultant down in Virginia. I've done 2 independent studies on social engineering. I did one specifically focused on phishing last semester, and this semester I am writing a social engineering course for this cyber range right here with my boys Loudon and Enzo. So that's been a lot of fun. We're really on our second topics for the class, but I went through all of them, and that's what you'll be learning here today. I'm also an earthbender. This is me at Acadia National Park, clearly knocking over a giant tree. It's very fun. I'm big into national parks, so if anyone likes hiking, I go every Thursday in the winter. It's very fun. And all my other accomplishments are on LinkedIn, so add me on LinkedIn if you care. The agenda for today, I'll be going specifically over what's called micro-social engineering. It's more one-on-one work, but there's also macro-social engineering, which is influencing a very large amount of people. That's the type of thing that's information warfare, propaganda, troll farms, stuff that rigs elections. But I won't be doing that today just because I didn't have enough time. And I'm also not doing the education portion of security training awareness stuff because I didn't have enough time. I have 60 slides, so it's going to be a long education. I hope you're all excited. You all look very awake, so hopefully this will be a good time. Yeah, so that's going to happen. But basically, what is social engineering? It's not the, the stuff that you learned in your classes here. At least for me, I've taken 3 classes that have told me today we're going to do a social engineering lab, and all that was OSINT. OSINT is not social engineering. You are not influencing anyone by doing a Google dork. That's not impressive. I'm sorry, it's just not. Like, it's really not that cool. So the point of this whole class that I'm writing is to do more actual social engineering and influence, more than just going around and collecting emails, putting it in a report and saying, well, I could, if I wanted to, use this to do X, Y, Z. I'm actually going to show you how to do the X, Y, Z. You also do have to be technical. A lot of people think this is a soft skills thing. Only extroverts can do it, and you don't need to know anything about computers to get someone to click a link and then call it a day. That's not true. There's a lot of technical information that goes into phishing, vishing, and anything else you're going to do. You need to know the technologies that you're attacking. You need to know how to walk someone through using those technologies, and you need to set up enough infrastructure so that you don't get caught in the future. So please don't think that social engineering is just for like non-technical people and push people towards that with that inclination, because then they may not realize they need to learn the technical aspects. It's the #1 way companies get hacked. This is how ransomware happens every single day. is through a phishing or vishing email, and is a skill. It's a skill you have to work on. You have to learn more about it. So when you're done with this hour presentation, make sure you go, and I'll give you some resources at the end for you to learn more. So Google, actually, you can go Google this IE Explorer Defined Social Engineering. It was a really good paper. It's about 20 pages. It spoke a lot about the history of social engineering, where it came, how it's been defined, and how it's been kind of abused as a definition. They go over all of the different definitions of it, and they say that social engineering should actually be defined within cybersecurity for the way that we are using it as professionals so that we can better understand it and use it. It's not just anytime you influence someone, you are social engineering, because then advertising is social engineering, which, like, I guess you could say it is, but not in this context. So they define it as a type of attack wherein, in order to breach the cybersecurity, and then they define the CIA, which I did not feel like spelling, the attackers exploit human vulnerabilities through any method such as influence, deception, manipulation, persuasion, induction by means of social interaction. It was a really good article. You guys should read it. They go over how it all started, mainly with phone calls, because this stuff has been happening before the internet was even up and running. So when you social engineer, you're either trying to get someone to perform an action, or you're trying to get information from them so that you're able to use the information to do a hack later on. It's a form of reconnaissance if you're doing it that way. You might be trying to get passwords, name of other employers, personal information, a work schedule, corporate intel. There's a fun one, did you poison me? So one of the coolest hacks that just came out was there was a big social advocate in Russia who was working against Putin, and he would put out a lot of meme videos that made fun of Putin. And of course, Putin did not like that. He's not a memester. He ain't dank. So he sent the KGB, or whatever they're doing, whatever they're called right now, to poison this man. And so when he was on a plane, he started feeling very sick. They had to emergency land it. He went into a coma. And then the tests came back saying he wasn't poisoned, and the doctors were like, I think he was poisoned. So they were able to ship him off to Germany, where he got more tests, where instead of Russia saying, no, this isn't poison, Germany said, yes, it is. And then he went back and he got arrested. But before he did, he was able to social engineer some information, find out one of the Russian spies who had COVID, who had like just woken up and was really tired. And he called him, and he actually convinced him to admit, while recording the conversation, that Russia, as a government, poisoned this man. So some really interesting stuff happens through this stuff. It's really impactful, but it's very fun. If you go towards action, that's changing a password, bypassing multi-factorification, going to a URL, typing in personal information, getting into a building, or plugging in a USB, all of which is very cool stuff. Yeah. So today what we're going to be covering are pretext phishing, physical assessments, and one-on-one building rapport. So pretext, the FBI has been using this since the 50s. It's basically the lie that you make up. It's your cover story. It's your backstory. The most famous one is Hannah Montana. She did a really great job. I legitimately thought Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus were different people as a child. So I think it's a fantastic way of using a pretext. So you want to pick carefully based on the situation. Some characteristics that you want to say is there's a time constraint. That way they know that the conversation is only going to be about 5 minutes long, so it's in and out. It's not inconvenient to their whole day. Obligation can always convince someone to do something. If you need help, if it is helpful, if they're going to get in trouble if they don't do it. Scarcity, like it needs to happen really soon. Liking means that they like you and they feel similar to it. And social proof is kind of everyone's doing it, so you have to do it too. Everyone's filled out this form, so you need to do it soon. You're going to get in trouble if you don't. All right, pretext continued. So you don't want to end up being a donkey in a wig. You got to convince the person that you are who you say you are. You have to really believe that the pretext is you. So it's a bit of acting in this sense. That's unfortunate.
Thank you, Cyber Rage.
Cool. So you're acting, and this is where your backstory and your OSINT really comes in. You want to make sure that you are a believable person in the company. You want to know the names of people in the company in case they ask. You want to know the type of employee ID in case the person on the phone asks, the type of schedule that they're using, the lingo that they're using. If they call the Arizona office the Phoenix office versus the Arizona office, you need to know that sort of thing so that you can back up who you are and say, yes, I work here. So vishing. This is my favorite one to do just because I've looked at it the most. I think it's very fun. Here's an example I'm sure you've all seen by now. It's my favorite. We'll see how this works. I don't know, man. Is it gonna work? Will Cyber Ranch work?
I'll call your cell phone
Oh,
provider, see if I can get them to give me your. Let's do it.
I'm not plugged into the thing. Let's do it here.
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider, see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
Oh,
I'm gonna
no.
spoof from your number, so it's gonna look like it's calling.
You'll just hear it.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today, so I'm so sorry I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for uses information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. Baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
Gmail.com?
Jessica gets my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our order daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account. Okay, my name?
Jessica uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127.
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry, so there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. All right.
Oh, shoot. So she was able to change the account within like 2 minutes. She did whatever she wanted.
Maybe I'll call your.
It was really simple. She just created a distress for people. The person on the other line, she came with some backup information, which was the guy's girlfriend, and she was able to convince them to change passwords, which is a form of action, pretty quickly. A lot of people just annoy the person. If you just like cry, eventually someone will just do what you want them to do. There's actually a whole conference based on this. It happens at DEF CON every year. They do a competition where you have to collect recon using social engineering, using vishing. So you go into a booth and you, on live, on a stage, you are calling these companies and you're calling as many people as you can to get as much information as you can. You only have 20 minutes to do the whole thing. You spend 2 weeks doing OSINT before on the company and you get points based on that. But then you have to live hack them, and here's the points for it. So you can see some of the information could be used in a hack later on. Although it seems like it's not that big of a deal, it's a way for someone to be able to break into the building or break into the system. So is IT handled inside or outside? Do they have a cafeteria? That's a point of entrance. What type of food service do they use? That's a way that you can wear cool clothes that are related to the food service and then come in using that. Is it wireless or on site? Are any websites blocked? So you can create a link that is appropriate to that. Stuff like that. They have even more too. So what operating systems are in use? So you can design your malware towards that. And various things. There's lots of things you can collect. The SECTF is a really cool thing that you can participate in any summer that there's no COVID. So make sure you sign up for that if you're interested. So you're thinking, oh, heck yeah, I want to do this thing. It's super cool, but how do I do it? Like, how do I do this? Well, you have to figure out your target first. Your target's going to be anyone who can help you, anyone who's new, or really anyone you can find enough information about on the internet. This includes new employees, human resources, a finance department, sales, or just anyone else. And the way that you find their phone number, which is a little bit harder than finding emails, you go through data breaches, email signatures, social media. There's a cool tool called email to phone number. What it does is it takes those little, whenever you log in somewhere and it shows your number, but it doesn't show your full number, it tries to do that all over the internet, and then it sticks it all together until you get a phone number. So that's kind of like a last resort. But Spiderfoot will just yeet them all up, and it's basically the harvester, but for phone numbers, because the harvester doesn't do that. I've contacted Matt Brown, guys. Don't worry, he's on it. But email signatures are also a really good way to do it. And see, certain someone keeps his right there, so it is a Google voice, but if you want to fish anyone such as Bo, the opportunity is there. So once you have found your target, you need to write a script. Your script will have an intro, which is your pretext, and you will say something like, hi, I'm calling from ITS to do a routine checkup on your system, and then you'll have some questions. It really depends on what you are looking to do, but if you're doing something like in the SECTF, it's really easy to just throw out a lot of questions like, what type of system do you have, especially with the IT pretext. But if you don't have that and you want to get other information, you want to seem like you're someone in the company who's casually come here to convince them to hand over some things, then you start broad, you don't tell them exactly what you want to know, and you don't give them yes or no questions, because then the conversation will immediately end. If you say yes, no, then it's just, how are you doing today? Good, boring, no one cares. So you want to ask who, what, when, why, how, because it gives the person on the other end the opportunity to elaborate and just talk. People really like to talk. People don't get to talk enough, especially during COVID. They get very sad and lonely. And if you are there and you are listening and you're showing interest in their life, then they're going to be really excited. So you'll want some talking points in your script that you can look down at. You're most likely not going to look at the script past the pretext, but you want to make sure that those talking points are there. So why are you calling? Who sent you? How do you know the boss? Why shouldn't the person hang up on you and call HR? Why do you need this right now? All this stuff is really important to have down. You can also say false things to have them correct you. That's something that's used a lot. And then you close. You kind of say, thank you for your time. It was really great talking to you. I will see you later. You're probably not, you want to make sure you're not going to say anything like, I'll follow up with you, because you're not going to. You don't want them expecting that. But the idea of vishing is making someone feel better for having spoken to you that day, and for them to not really remember you. You don't want them walking around the office talking like, hey, did you get that weird call? Hey, did you get that weird call? Which is why you also don't call the same office a lot of times with the same pretext. So just some fun phishing stuff. So phishing, which I'm sure you have all heard of, phishing pretexts are also pretty easy. You need to get all of this stuff. This is some information that you might want to look up before doing it. So this is all of the recon that you will do for your pretext. So vendors are a really good one, because vendors send invoices, and vendors are really important for making the company run smoothly. So you want to use stuff like that. Latest vulnerabilities are a super easy one. If you were to say SolarWinds patch needed desperately because it was out there in the news so much, the average person would understand that that's something really important that I need to fix. So I'm going to download this file so that it can run and fix my system. Of course, it is malware. So yeah, stuff like that. And then if you're going to do spear phishing, which I know you're all familiar with, which is why I'm not defining all the different types of phishing right now. If you're going to do spear phishing, then you can use more specific stuff like, have they traveled recently? Do they need a reimbursement for that travel? Will the company be coming to ask them? How do they ask them? Etc. Some subject lines, which is really how you get someone to open the email at all. Urgent, important, please read, action required. Those are all things that you will always open, almost always. And then anything related to the password, if you're doing credential harvesting, will be helpful for that. W-2 is related to money. So, of course, everyone wants money from W-2 reimbursement. Policy updates. This is a very popular one. Apparently, people do read policies in the real world, but mainly when they're related to vacation and working from home, COVID updates, etc. And then some other stuff. The new device detected is usually used for bypassing MFA or credential harvesting, invoice due, payroll, it goes on. There's many you can do. The structure of the email from my recent research, very little bit, seems to be the same every time. It's wire messaging, so a brief like, hey, we're contacting you because, and then the direction that you want them to do. Since this is happening, all you need to do is 1, 2, 3, please click this link, blah, blah, blah. It's usually in the form of a button because it's like bigger and more exciting to hit. And then you send a thank you, and then you put the correct signature of whatever company or vendor you are coming from. So make sure you do your OSINT on that. Common mistakes that you'll see are poor grammar, spelling mistakes, stupid emails because you need to make sure that you're sending it from the correct email, false information that's easy to fact check, and scaring employees. If someone's too scared of the action, if you're saying you're about to get fired unless you click this link, they're going to ask someone about it and be very upset doing so, and someone's going to care about them and go look into it. So try not to be too aggressive. These things tend to happen from people who are attacking old people who are going to give money. That's not really what we're learning today. We're learning more about how to do this in a professional setting, how to be a red teamer that does this, or maybe working for an agency for stuff like that. But often you will see very stupid and obvious emails that are like, I'm a Nigerian prince, and I'm like Emmanuel, and I want to give you lots of money. So please click this link, and then you'll get lots of money. Or PayPal says you need to do this and that. So those are obvious ones that I feel like we as students and young people can see and be like, that's stupid, but your parents and grandparents are at risk, so maybe like go home and talk to them about this stuff. There's also phishing toolkits. There's about 100 of them out there, able for anyone to use. I hear that in the new classes, they're actually having freshmen use them, which is really cool. But Go Fish, Real Fish, Fierce Fish, and Before You Know are all tools that are plug and play for this. And you can just plug in your email, put your pretext in, and send it out to a list of people that you have gathered. And then it will give you the data on who clicked, when did they click, stuff like that. It's really good for an emailing pen test where you're sending out some stuff and just trying to get that data back to see how much security training you need to give to others. So behind the fish, there's a lot going on. If you were to use just the toolkit, you wouldn't get anything done. You would get caught really fast. Your whole design would look like this. It would be the victim, and then the internet's in between, right? Spooky. And then a domain that you just picked up, that you just registered, that you left your whois information on, that's going to get taken down by Microsoft immediately. And then your team server, where you're not going to get any success. So this is a basic setup for something really simple. I guess you could do it, but you won't be getting a job. This is what a red team one usually looks like. It's a victim, the internet, and then many domains, redirectors, and team servers, which each serve a different purpose. So they have payload hosts, phishing emails, and 2 C2s. This is from SpecterOps. The redirectors are there to make sure that the blue team traffic, or the blue teams can't detect the traffic as easily, and they are, they make it a lot easier for your domain to be, or your entire infrastructure to be set back up once the blue team takes it down. So, in terms of domains, expired domains are used quite often. Unicode is a fun one. What I put up there actually goes to Apple once you put it in the domain, so you can look out for stuff like that. Similar domains, as you can see here, login.example, login-example, who would know the difference? Who would know? So, and whois data needs to be anonymized. Not only, do you guys know what whois data is? It tells you who owns this domain. Not only does it tell you who owns this domain right now, it can tell you the entire history of who has ever owned that domain. So if you don't get that domain and immediately take your name off it when it is bought, they're gonna be, blue teams are able to filter that, flag that, and kick you right out. So make sure you do that, because you guys are totally hacking all the time. And then domain fronting, that's using someone else's domain to cover your butt and make sure that you are not getting hit. But that has gone down since 2018, so I'm not going in depth on it. So you're either going to deliver your payload in two ways: attachments, which has been done in every type that you think of. You will often hear the term macros being thrown around for phishing. Macros is code that is able to go into Microsoft documents to alleviate some pain in very repetitive actions. But it also contains malware all of the time. So if you're sending something with macros, it's most likely going to get flagged. FireEye has recently released a tool called Office Purge, which was written by an intern over the summer, called VBA Purging. VBA is the visual basics of the code in macros, and the purging tool brings it down to a very minimum code so that it is less likely to be flagged by antivirus. It's pretty cool stuff. Look into it. But like I said, people are less likely to download attachments. They're more likely to click on links. So you can hit a button, very fun buttons. There's hyperlinks, as you can see in this fake Netflix email, and then shorter links are also better, like a bit.ly. One of the tactics that they put out there for defense is to hover over these things so that you can see the link before clicking on it, but people are busy. They need to get through stuff fast. So there's that. There was one more thing I wanted to show, but this is very hard to do. So do you guys know Darknet Diaries? Woo! We love Darknet Diaries, Shannon. We're so awake today.
Really?
Yay!
So this next story, actually, can I just take a moment and say thank you for being here as a listener? I mean, look at this. We're what, 40 minutes into this episode, and you're still with me? Unbelievable. Just thanks so much for being here with me right here, right now.
Is that a video clip you're playing?
No.
The listener who's made it this far, I have
It just
something
got really loud.
really
I was
excited
You hear it?
This is a rare
you hear
find,
it?
and I've been looking for
Okay.
something like this for quite a while. So I was really
Can you
excited
hear
when
it?
Chris said
Can
he
you
could do it. So the story starts with Chris doing a phishing campaign against a company with the goal of raising security awareness for the company.
So in this particular test, we started off with a phishing email, and it was out to 1,000 people, and it was about a brand new iPhone. So to register to win one of the brand new iPhones, all you have to do was go to this website and put in your credentials for your computer. It was a corporate sponsored raffle, so that you went to a site that looked like your corporate site, entered the info, and then you were entered to win one of these iPhones.
So many of the people in this company wanted a free iPhone. And the email looked like it was sponsored by the company itself, so the employees were like, heck yeah, let me register to win this thing. From this email alone, Chris got 750 people to click the link and then go to his website and enter in their work username and password. It's insane. At this point, you could send each of these people an email explaining how the raffle was just a test and they failed. And that could be the end of the security awareness training. But besides raising awareness, Chris had a secondary objective, which was to also gain remote access to the network inside. So he comes up with a plan.
We had their username and password, but our job was to gain access to their network remotely. So the goal was to call each one of these people and tell them that the link they just clicked on was a fish, and that they had to, hopefully they went, and when they were notified of that, that was a fish, that they had to go change their password, and that once they changed their password, we had to just make sure that there was no residual malware on the computer from clicking that fish. And to system, we created a PC cleaner program for them that would clean their machine from any malware. And of course, it was not a PC cleaner, it was a interpreter reverse shell that gave us access into their machine.
So the goal was to call like 25 people who clicked the link and somehow convince them to run some malware. This is phishing, which is voice phishing. But like I was saying earlier, it's the same thing that con artists have been doing for 100 years. So Chris changed into Paul and acted like he's from tech support. He emails one of the people who clicked the fish and told them, hey, look, this was a phishing email. You clicked it. You shouldn't have. Change your password immediately. Then Chris, or Paul now, calls up the employee. And here's the actual phishing call that took place.
This is Paul, tech support. How you doing? Good. We got that you filled out for that iPhone. The iPhone.
Yeah.
You went in and you did your password change.
Yes, I did.
Okay, excellent. Just wanted to tell you that was really good. That's the way it should have been handled.
Okay, yeah. As soon as we realized it, two of us jumped right on it.
Okay, so there was another guy in your team that also.
Yeah, I think it was Gio.
JR, okay, I'm just gonna write down. I'll be talking to him later on. So, just to follow up, what we're doing is, are you on the VPN right now? You're on your work machine?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give you an internal address. It's an FTP site that we set up for employees. You can go there. You can see there's one file there that you'll be able to download, and it will just clean up any residual mess from that website that we use for the audit. So if you're at your machine, just open up a browser, and I'll give you the address.
You mean like going like I'm gonna send an email? I'm not real.
Well, Internet Explorer, you can open up that.
Yep, I got it. Okay.
And then up on the top line, the address, type in FTP.
FTP.
Yep, F as in Frank. T
Okay.
as in Tom, and then P as in Paul, and then a colon. And then 2 slashes, and these are the slashes that are by your question mark, the same button as your question mark.
Gotcha. FTP. Okay.
And then the word is update, dash, and the dash like the minus sign,
Gotcha.
.com.
Okay.
And then you should open up, you say index of, and it should have one file. There's a file called PC checker.
Okay, you know it's there. Okay, double click on that.
Yeah, click on that,
Okay.
and it should download. Or it should ask if you want to run or save. Yeah, click run.
Okay.
And if everything goes good, you should get no alerts. You know, if you have a residual problem from that site, then you'll get a message. But if nothing happens, then everything's clean and good, and we're done.
Okay. I just got a second thing. It says the publisher could not be verified. Are you sure you want to run this software?
Yeah. Okay.
Run again.
Okay, that's good. So if you got no error message, then you're good to go. You're clean.
Okay. Well, thanks for the help.
Not a problem. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Sorry about clicking on that.
It's okay. Thanks for thinking about it after we're done.
Okay, man. All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Man, 2 minutes. That's all it took. Man. And you can listen to that. He started, he gave him props at the beginning. He said, man, it's good that you're paying attention to this stuff. You're doing great. You could hear that Chris sounded very tired while he was doing it. Like when they said, oh, antivirus, do I really want to run this? He's like, yeah, you do. Like, because he hears that every day. He's tech support. He's Paul from tech support. So he's listening to this stuff all day. He's not loving it. He's not loving his life. So he just sounds tired. But even though that's happening in his sad life, this man, he's got it under control. He's protecting his computer. And why wouldn't he trust him? He said, hi, I'm a random man from the company calling you. Probably has an internal phone number. You can use things like caller spoof ID as a tool to spoof your number, make it look like you're calling from inside. So it's fun. And one of the cool things about phishing versus vishing is that no one cares about it. No one's really going out there to protect people. There's no way that you can automate the protection of it. There's so many antiviruses going after phishing emails, but no one's sitting there recording emails at all, trying to make sure people don't click or listen to these people. So there really is no protection of it except awareness training, which tells you to maybe question everyone, call them back from the number that you believe is true and stuff like that. So phishing's the coolest. That's my point. But now we're getting into the good stuff. Am I right, Loudon?
Yes.
Yes! Physical Security Interest Group. It meets on Mondays at 11 a.m. Where does it meet,
Yes.
Loudon?
What?
Where?
Oh, just Golisano 1730 right across the hall.
Right, that whole room?
Yeah.
Oh, you got that whole room for you and Enzo?
So no one else was there.
Awesome. So make sure you guys go to that because Loudon goes over lockpicking and he's an expert on this. He's writing the physical security portion of the course for the RIT Cyber Range. So he is what the kids call an expert.
I guess so.
So physical assessments, if you're going to be breaking into buildings to hack, you're going to be going in there and figuring out how good the security is of the company. How are their guards, their cameras, their badges, their locks, doors, trash, etc. Does anyone care about this stuff? Does anyone think that someone's going to sneak in? And why are they sneaking in? You usually sneak in because you want to, we'll talk about that in a second actually, because this is a fun one. So the doors,
Yes.
you can't hear it. You don't need to hear this one. Actually.
Yes.
This is a classic hack.
We take those.
It's cold air. And he just opens the door. Why? Because a lot of sensors, the way that they work, they detect a certain oh, I don't know what that is. Ads. Crazy kids. So the sensor on those doors don't only detect motion, they also detect temperature. This is so when a piece of paper gets thrown in front, they don't open and close until the piece of paper moves. They want to make sure it's a human or a dog or whatever. So instead of your can will get you in wherever you need. But you can learn more about that at the Physical Security Interest Group
That's right.
on Mondays, 11 a.m. in that room right there, or the room you're in. Hi people. Hi. I'm sure they're waving.
Over there?
So to do a physical assessment, you're going to look for points of entry. There's smoking doors. You can do this on Google Maps. There's doors that aren't covered by guards. There's doors that are. You need the foot traffic. You need to know when people are coming in so that you can blend in with them and pretend to be an employee. Maybe you see vendors that come in and you're going to be a vendor. You're going to put on their outfit and then you're going to just walk on in because they do it all the time and you know exactly when. Parking. Is there going to be a guard that you have to go through to get to the parking? Is there going to be a parking space for you? Or does every employee get their own parking space and you have to get one too? How do guests work? How do guests get in? Can you be a guest? What are their badges look like? Can you get a badge super easily? Can you take a picture of a badge of either a vendor or an employee when they leave? How does that work? Are their floor plans public? They probably are. You can probably find them. Clothing, is it a very businessy place? Does everyone dress down? Would it look weird if you showed up in a suit? How's it gonna work? So do all that stuff. Phone calls is a fun one. When you walk into the front and you start talking to someone and you say, hey, I want to talk to so-and-so on XYZ floor, the person at the front desk will do a little extension call. So if they do, I think 4 digits means that they're inside the building and 7 means they're outside of the building. So what's up, Evan?
It actually depends on schema, but it's normally an 11-digit dial to get out.
There you go. So it's 11 or something. So that type of thing, looking into that, knowing where someone is so you can target them later on. Very fun stuff. So once you have all of your reconnaissance together, you're going to show up with your get out of jail free card. This is very important if you are doing a physical assessment for the company, because if they catch you, if you mess up somehow, you need to pull out a card that says, hello, this is like, please call the CISO. The CISO is in charge of this. Do not send this person to jail. I'm sure many of you heard of Coal Fires incident about a year ago, last fall, where they broke in at the wrong time. They went at night, and the police came, and they were in jail for several weeks. So make sure you have that. Make sure when you speak to your clients, you understand that you can hack at certain times, you can break in XYZ. So, yeah. So you want your pretext all set up. You want to speak with confidence about what that pretext is. I'm here to fix XYZ. I am the Cisco person. Let me into your server room. I'm wearing a shirt that says Cisco, therefore I am Cisco. And then you can just walk right in. That leads to the disguise. You're going to look sketchy like this. You're not going to get through, so you want to look cool. Your goal. What is your goal? Are you trying to get to the CISO's office? That's always something they ask for some reason. Do you want to get to the server room? You have to take a picture once you're there. Are you trying to find important files and get into the desk somehow? Are you just trying to look for computers that are unlocked with people not sitting at them? Or are you maybe trying to plug in rubber duckies? These are all things that you may be trying to do. Whatever the client wants, you need to define the goal and make sure you achieve it. Getting around, running around is fine, but if you don't do what you came there to do, your client will laugh at you and say, haha, we're better than you. So make sure you got that ready. And a smile. That is the confidence part. You're there to do a job. You're excited. Yeah, it's fun. It's nerve-wracking, but it's fun. Haven't done it, but... And then one-on-ones. I'm sure this is what you all thought I was going to do today, is tell you how to talk to someone until you are able to get something out of them. This is usually more for building rapport, getting information out of them, less so action. But it's to build trust, and it can be used at any time. It can also be used just to build trust in your life with people you care about, because you care about them, you want to show them. So this is a good little tip to use. I learned about this 2 days ago, so I've not manipulated you all through social engineering. I'm just naturally that great. But you want to come in with a time constraint. People get really uncomfortable when strangers walk up to them and talk to them, not only because what a stranger danger, but also because you don't know when the conversation's going to end. If someone just comes over and says hello, that's fine, but if they're going to talk to you for 25 minutes, it's very annoying. So come up with a time constraint. Say you're about to leave. Slow your rate of speech so that you don't seem too excited. You seem calm, like a very calming person. Ego suspension. So the point of this is you're probably trying to talk to this person to get some sort of information from them about their personal life. Maybe they're an informant and you're an FBI agent, stuff like that. So ego constraint is making sure it's not all about you. You want them to be the one talking. So don't give up any information about yourself unless they'll have this moment where they realize they've been talking the whole time. That's called quid pro quo, say that fast. And then you just give a little bit of information about yourself and they keep going. But ego suspension is definitely the hardest part of doing all this and not talking about yourself, saying yes, oh yes, I relate to that. Instead saying how, when, why, so that the person continues to elaborate on whatever they are saying. Validating and summarizing shows that you're listening and that you care about them. Summarizing, so at the end you can say, oh, so your mother's brother's baby went to the store and got you that. And they're like, wow, you were listening to all that? And you go, of course I was, because I care about you and you should trust me. Stuff like that. So, yeah, building rapport is fun. You should use it in your life. Go out, make friends, do your thing. So that's it. That's a very brief overview of all of the stuff Loudon, Enzo, and I are learning while we are writing a course for the RIT Cyber Range. I encourage you to petition the undergraduate department to make it an undergraduate class so that you can learn all of the details, because this presentation just scratched the surface. So make sure you do that, or not. I'm leaving, so I don't care. But if you are interested in stuff like this or anything else that you haven't learned in class yet, do an independent study. They're really fun. They're really easy. You get to make your own schedule and project. Sometimes they're a lot of work if you get too excited about it, but it's pretty fun. If you're interested in physical security, go to the physical security interest group Mondays. Very fun. Heck yeah. What a clap.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah, so make sure you go there, or you can look at conference talks. And you can look at conference talks. So go look up Breaking into Buildings, DEF CON, and there's a million of them. They're very fun.
Deviant Ollam.
I don't know what you said, but the mics do.
Deviant Ollam, one of the people who does those talks.
Oh,
It's very
yeah.
good.
There you go.
Jason E. Street, my man.
Yeah, they're all quietly shouting things. And then fishing, if you go on GitHub, there's a lot of things that are there for like directions on how to do it because there's not enough fishing in the world, so we got to teach others. Fishing, I suggest reading a couple books or listening to them, but the books kind of go into the psychology of it. Human Hacking is one that I'm about to read. It's Not All About Me is one that I just finished, so they're fun. Or Become a Spy, and you can do this all in the real world, or become a red teamer, and you can do it sometimes. That's all. Thank you to Justin for advising all of my independent studies and giving me all the information that he's allowed to. So I really appreciate it. Are there any questions? Any questions from the other room? We'll never know. From the stream? Is that a thing?
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
What time is physical security interest group?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, John. It's simply Mondays from 11 to 12.